Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome, everyone. Today, we're doing a deep dive that feels almost like time travel. We're heading to a corner of Africa, to the Hadza tribe living beside Lake Eyasi, under these incredible baobab trees.
It's a place that seems, well, almost outside of modern history.
Exactly. And the core mystery, the thing that's just astounding when you look into it, is how these people still live purely by instinct, by the bow and arrow.
Maintaining that pure hunter-gatherer lifestyle, yeah.
Yeah.
The one that defined humanity for, what, 99% of our existence.
It's mind-blowing. For the Hadza, every single day is this raw interaction with nature, a new hunt, a new challenge.
Constant adaptation.
So our mission today is kind of threefold. We want to explore why anthropologists think the Hadza might be the most direct descendants of early humans.
Looking at the behavioral markers, the genetics.
Yeah, and we'll get into the just lethal precision of their hunting. And finally, why one particular animal, the baboon, holds such huge significance for them.
Right. And it's fascinating because their whole existence really challenges so much of, modern life.
Right.
You're talking deep in the Tanzanian bush.
The Great Rift Valley near Lake Eyasi.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that location is key. It's literally a cradle of humanity. This isolation, it's preserved a way of life that demands this.
Yeah.
This absolute moment-by-moment focus.
And when you think about their daily reality, I mean, it forces you to look at our own lives.
Totally. They don't just lack refrigerator. The concept of storing food long-term isn't really there. No crops, no livestock.
So survival is literally hour by hour.
Yeah, which means the group's energy, all of it, is focused on getting food right now.
That kind of immediate reality, it must demand incredible efficiency. It makes you wonder, for us planning meals weeks ahead, what replaces that planning infrastructure for them?
Well, it's not technology, that's for sure. It's more like a social mechanism, a social contract, really. Because there's no storage, they rely on immediate, mandatory sharing. If someone brings down a big animal, that meat gets shared out instantly, right through the camp.
Ah, so that prevents hoarding.
Right, reduces conflict, and it acts as their kind of insurance policy. If your hunt fails today, you still eat because somebody else succeeded.
And everyone benefits.
That social structure is arguably much older and maybe even more robust than any freezer.
That efficiency in their social system, it seems mirrored in their tools, too. Relying solely on instinct, on this deep knowledge of the environment, the tools become this physical extension of that.
Absolutely lethal simplicity. It's been refined over, millennia. Trial and error.
So tell us about the craftsmanship. What goes into their gear?
Hadza make their own bows, usually from specific local woods, often Grewia species. It's chosen for its flexibility, its strength, how it holds that curve.
And the arrows are specialized, too.
Highly specialized. Here's where it gets really interesting, the technical detail in the arrow tips. It's not just about brute force.
Right. The sources mention they don't rely just on physical trauma for the bigger prey.
Exactly. For larger animals, or dangerous ones, they use carefully prepared natural poisons.
Wow.
And this isn't just random foraging. It's like practical organic chemistry. They often use the sap from plants like the desert rose, adenium.
So the poison doesn't kill instantly?
Not necessarily. It immobilizes, it slows the animal down, allowing the hunters to track it until it succumbs. It changes a risky fight into a more calculated waiting game.
That's incredible. And their accuracy is legendary, too. The sources talk about their usual targets. Small birds like bubis, sparrows, barbettes, rabbits, small antelope.
Yeah, think about hitting a tiny bird. Why spend the energy?
Good question.
Because their whole survival philosophy is about balancing energy gained versus energy spent. Hunting those small common birds takes amazing patience, absolute precision.
I read somewhere they can hit tiny targets from 30 meters away.
That's what the accounts say. They even use special techniques, like mimicking bird calls to lure them in, or using smaller arrows so they don't waste valuable materials. It keeps their skills razor sharp, even when they're not after big game.
Okay, so this is where things shift a bit, right? From just getting food to something more cultural. Small game keeps them alive day to day, but one animal takes extreme skill and brings huge status. The baboon.
Oh, definitely. Hunting baboons for the Hadza, that's probably the highest practical badge of honor you can get.
Why? What makes them so challenging?
Well, you have to understand the animal. Baboons aren't just passive targets. They live in organized troops. They're smart, incredibly fast.
And dangerous.
Very. The adult males are big, aggressive. They can seriously injure or even kill a hunter who messes up.
So given that danger and the energy it must take, Is the food payoff really worth it? Or is it more about the social reward?
It's absolutely both. Taking down a big male baboon provides a lot of calories, a lot of protein. That's vital. But the social and kind of psychological reward is immense. The sources suggest it's also about revenge and a necessary show of strength.
Revenge.
Yeah, baboons are known to raid Hadza camps sometimes. They steal nuts, bits of food. So hunting a troop leader successfully is like protecting the camp's integrity. It shows dominance over the local wildlife. It says, we're not victims here.
And there's this amazing detail about how they even talk about the taste, connecting that triumph directly to the meal. What do the sources say baboon meat tastes like?
According to the Hadza themselves, it's unique. Definitely reflects that wild diet. They often compare it to a mix between wild boar and goat.
Huh, wild boar and goat.
Yeah, usually with a very tough texture and a really deep, smoky flavor. That comes from cooking it immediately over these scorching open fires, which is their tradition.
So it's much more than just food.
Oh, absolutely. It's a symbol, a smoky, tough symbol of mastering this really challenging animal, triumph made edible.
Let's zoom out then. Put the Hadza into the really, really deep human story. What is it that makes them potentially this unbroken link to our earliest ancestors?
It's this convergence, deep history, genetics, language, all in that same incredibly significant place.
The Great Rift Valley.
Exactly. We know they've kept this hunting lifestyle going for an astonishing time, at least 30,000 years, maybe even 50,000, based on some genetic models.
And they live where the oldest Homo sapiens fossils were found, right in the cradle of humanity.
Literally the epicenter of human evolution. Their home is the cradle.
And their uniqueness goes right down to their biology, their language. We hear about the click sounds, but what does that linguistic isolation really mean?
Their language, Hadzain, it's what linguists call an isolate. There are other click languages in Africa, sure, but Hadzain doesn't seem related to any known language family.
So it stands alone.
Completely alone, which suggests this incredibly deep, isolated lineage. It's almost like a linguistic fossil. If a language has been spoken continuously in the same small area, without much outside influence for tens of thousands of years, that implies a level of cultural isolation that's almost, unique on the planet.
And the DNA backs this up too, right? Their genetics don't cleanly fit with the tribes around them.
No, they stand apart genetically as well, which points towards a very early branching off from the main human lineage.
So this tells us they aren't just, modern people playing hunter-gatherer.
Not at all. They seem to be genuinely preserving genetic and cultural elements from a part of the human story that separated from most others millennia ago. For the Hadza, hunting isn't just a job or a hobby. It's their identity, their culture, their whole philosophy of being.
And you can see that philosophy in action during the hunt itself. Those descriptions from the sources, the dawn hunts, they're so visceral.
Yeah, imagine it. 3 young hunters moving in that pre-dawn light. Every step isn't planned on a map. It's calculated based on a lifetime of reading the environment.
Listening for the tiniest sound.
The rustle of a boobo bird. Adjusting their path because of a track mark that's barely visible, left hours ago. There's no GPS, no night vision, none of that.
Just eyes, ears, heart.
It's pure sensory input refined by years of practice. Total mastery of instinct. They're connected to that world in a way that we modern humans just can't replicate anymore. We've outsourced our senses to technology.
So what does all this mean for you listening to this, maybe thousands of miles away, centuries removed? The Hadza offer this living, breathing connection, not just to our ancestors, but maybe to something latent within all of us.
Right. And if you connect it to the bigger picture, their lifestyle really forces us to ask some fundamental questions about ourselves, about being human.
Like what?
Like, is that instinct still alive in us somewhere? Or have we buried it under layers of technology? And we have to look critically at what they do. Is hunting just killing? Or, in their specific context, is it a profound, a necessary kind of communion with nature, a dialogue required to sustain both them and their environment?
And the Hadza, they seem to answer these huge questions not with words, but with their silence, with the arrows they let fly.
Exactly. So here's a final thought to chew on. Their language is unique. Their DNA is distinct. They trace their existence back tens of thousands of years in the literal cradle of humanity.
Yeah.
If all these deep markers suggest they preserved human elements that split off before most other groups formed, what essential, deeply human things might they still hold on to? Things related to nature, community, instinct, things the rest of the world might have forgotten, or maybe actively chose to forget. What could we learn about ourselves if we paid closer attention?